Hey everyone, it's Chammies, and today I'm here to share with you 7 tips on buying your first lube. So unfortunately, sex ed, if you even have it, does not teach you the life skills, like how does one to select their first lube? Which one is the best one for me? Well, I'm here to share with you what I learned from my experience. So when I was 18, I went to the sex store and bought my very first lube. I brought my friends along, and then I helped them along their first lube journeys as well. So here are 7 tips. Let's get started. Tip 1. As with anything you're looking to purchase, you definitely want to research what your budget is. So I've seen lubes that range anywhere from $5 to $150. So you definitely want to set your budget. And I will say that the only ones I purchased are around $10 and those work just fine. So I really don't know if the more expensive lubes are worth their expense or what the difference is between the more expensive ones and less expensive ones. That would be an interesting idea to check out and see. Yes, before you go in, definitely know what your price range is so you don't end up spending more or getting seduced by maybe a salesperson telling you, trying to convince you to buy a more expensive lube. Tip 2, figure out what are you planning to use this lube for. Is it anal? Is it vaginal? Is it oral? Are you doing it solo? Are you with a partner? Are you going to use it with condoms? Are you going to use it on toys? Are you trying to increase stimulation? Or are you just trying to give some more lubricant for when you're doing it? These are all the questions, as there are different lubes that will be recommended based on which activity you're going to do it for and based on how you answered the questions. For example, there's a warming cooling lube which helps increase stimulation, so if that's something you're looking for, you'd want to look for one of those. The more specific you can be, the better. Definitely read labels carefully to see which one is best for the activity you're trying to do. And definitely do not be afraid to talk to the salesperson. Like, I talk to the salesperson all the time. I was like, well, you're the expert here. That's why they hired you. So I'm going to be asking you all my questions about lube. Tip number 3, adding on to that, is whether you want to go with water-based, silicone-based, or oil-based. Again, each base has its pros and cons and depends on what you previously answered to the previous question in terms of what are you using it for, who you're using it with, what kind of toys, etc. are you going to be using with it. For example, I basically go with the water-based lube because there is very easy cleanup. And as you'll see, I'll post a chart right here that kind of gives you a very quick summary of the kinds of different things that the different types of lubes would be good for. But I'll also link below an article that will share with you more in detail which lube to go for depending on what you're doing and what you're looking for. Also note to definitely check the ingredients, because if you're someone who really wants your lube to be all natural ingredients, they have that as well. Okay, so tip number 4 is bring a friend or bring a significant other, someone that you really trust and care about and who will make the experience fun. Honestly, I love bringing my friends with me. It was just fun to go with them. We made it a whole experience. Like, hey, let's all go lube shopping together. I mean, it's like we all go shopping for other things together, so why not go shopping for a lube together? And you can also bring your SO, since they're the ones who may or may not be using it with you, so it's good to bring them along too, so they can try out the different ones and see what they're looking for as well, since you're both going to use it together. Also could just be a fun, little with y'all. You can all hang at the store before, get all ready, get all prepared, think about fun things to do later. So a little like foreplay at the store, which sounds weird, but I just mean, searching for lube together can be a fun bonding experience. And also I just feel like sometimes it can be kind of awkward to go to stores like these, and having your friends with you or your SO or someone can make it feel a little less awkward. Or if you don't mind going alone, that's totally cool too. Like, right on, like, go by yourself, go ahead. Like, I do that now too, is I'm just like, well, not how many friends don't want to come with me, they're busy. I'm like, all right, it's time to hit up the store and get some. And you usually don't have to go to the sex store for it, which is like makes it a little more dramatic. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm at the sex store and it comes with like a black bag so no one can see through. I'm like, okay, it's not even a shame, like, dang. So you could totally get lube at like Target, Walgreens, wherever. Like, most drugstores have it, so no need to go all the way to the sex store if you don't want to. And tip 5 is when you go to the store, you can actually taste test lubes. I didn't know this, but when I got there, when I was talking to the store person, they were actually like, oh, do you want to test all of them? I'm like, I could do that. They're like, yeah, they give you little sticks and you just try a bunch of them. So they have a lot of cool flavors. They got the classic fruits like strawberry, watermelon, they got mint, they got pineapple, they got banana, they got a lot. And then they got some wild ones if you're really feeling it. They got like bacon, which I did try. So I'm like, I do love bacon. I decided I don't really want to smell like bacon like when I'm doing it, so I'm like, nah, I won't do that one. And then they also have one called toasted nuts, which made me laugh because nuts, and you might use it on nuts, toasted nuts on nuts. It was pretty funny, so I laughed at that. But yes, they got some wild flavors, so I highly recommend going to try it out. Again, it kind of adds to the experience of going to the store and trying out lube with all your friends or SO or whoever. It's fun, talking to the store person. They'll give you tips like, hey, why don't you try this flavor? This one's most popular. So that's very exciting. I will say, like, yeah, it's actually with my friends, and then eventually when I did try it with a partner, my partner was like, oh, I don't really like this flavor. So I was like, oh, maybe I should have like brought you too, so they could check it out as well and see if they liked it. But definitely fun to try it out. So it's like going to the ice cream store. Tip 6. make sure to do a skin test. This one's very important. Before you put it on, either in store or when you get home, you can also return it. Make sure to put a little bit on your skin somewhere so that you can see if it irritates it. Because if it irritates your hand skin, it's definitely going to irritate you on the skin of your parts. So definitely test that out. Give it a little bit to sit in and see what happens before you just go ham down there and just woo, like splooge it all on there. Also, on that note, you definitely want to use a nickel size. I did not know that. No one told me that. So I was out here like, woo. And then when I was doing the deed, I was just like, oh wow, there is literally so much lube. Like, it is so slippery and flooding. Like, there is a freaking flood, not in a good way, like all up in here. So just use a nickel size. You can always add more. A little bit really does go a long way when it comes to lube. And then tip 7, finally, tip 7 is just have fun. You could totally make this an experience if you want to. You bring your people, it's a whole outing, you find your favorite lube, you're trying out lots of different flavors. It's super cool to just learn about all there is to learn about lube. Like, there are freaking glow-in-the-dark lube. Like, I personally have not tried that one yet, but I kind of want to because it's cool. It's like, what's it going to be like? Green slime? It's going to look like slime while we're doing it. Like, you can look at the slime while you're in there. Like, wow. There it is. So there's just so many lubes to try and look at and find. So I highly recommend just making it like a fun, cool experience. I feel like a lot of times around these, there's like this huge stigma, as we kind of talk about in previous videos, about like sex, lube, all these things you shouldn't talk about or don't learn about. So hopefully you have now learned a little bit more and are armed with some more knowledge and questions to ask a salesperson or to research on the Google. So now you are more prepared to go buy your first lube. So I hope I've been able to help y'all in that journey. Would love if you comment below which one is your favorite lube. If you have a favorite brand, I'm actually in the market for a new one. So if you could tell me which flavors you like or which ones you recommend or which ones are pretty wild that I should try or test out here, let me know. I will see you all next week in the next video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Bye!